Well, welcome to Talking About Speedway. My name's Graeme Sinden, and joining me in the studio, Drew Winchester, to talk about the Dan Winchester Testimonial at Pinjar Park Motorcycle Speedway this Saturday, January the 17th. Welcome to the program, Drew.
Thanks, Graeme. Glad to be here.
Well, it's good to have you here, and thanks for putting this event on. It should be a real exciting event. I mean, I don't know when the last testimonial event was in Perth.
Yeah, that's right. It's not common to have a testimonial in Perth, and I think this is probably the first one that I've heard of. But yeah, there's an opportunity came up, and I recognise that Daniel's done his 20 years now at the club, so it's a really good opportunity, like I said, to put something on for him and just to recognise the stellar career that he's had over the last 20 years.
Well, it is a big deal, isn't it? 20 years at the top of solo racing. He started at Pinjar Park. Well, he started at Bibra Lake, in fact, but I suppose he started his senior solo career at Pinjar Park at the little woofy track that we'll talk about in a moment. And it's a big deal to be 20 years racing at the top level, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, 20 years racing is one thing, but 20 years at the top level and to almost every event that I can remember, he's either been on the podium or on the top of it. So just to have that consistency and without major injuries over that span in a sport like this is pretty terrific, and I think it's definitely something to be commended.
So on the screen now, celebrating 20 years of solo racing, Dan Winchester. What a great career he's had. I don't know of another solo rider. Whilst we've had the likes of Cam Heaps and so on go over east, and a number of other solo riders very successful, Dan's been a mainstay for all that time. He won a couple of WA championships along the road, a heap of King of Pinjars and so on. You might tell us a little bit about that as we go along.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously Daniel had the talent to go really far in the sport, and he did go overseas and have a try, and he did pretty well over there during a bit of a test run. But he just decided that the lifestyle wasn't for him, and he decided to stay in Perth and just race for the enjoyment of it. And I think it's just really great that he's been able to race here for the fans, and they can see that top level of solo rider.
Oh, absolutely. I've enjoyed his racing career, watching him grow from pretty much a junior right through to senior level and winning championships and so on. So it's been a special journey for me. Here we are. This is where it all started. I think 13 years old at this time. He raced number 6 even back then in the Bibra Lake days, and he's just gone from strength to strength from there. And if I was to just put a couple of extra slides on there of his career, that is the little woofy track there that we're looking at, in fact, where you'll be racing on Saturday night, and occupying the red helmet colour there off pole, and he's gone on ever since from there, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. So he's, like I said, he's gone from the very start. I think he was about 8 or 9 years old when we started Bibra Lake Speedway, and I was racing junior sidecars back then as well. So as a sport, it's really grown a huge amount, and from really basic kind of racing to where he is now, it's really great to see him still going at the age of, I think he's turning 36 this year, so there we go.
I just had the start of your rider lineup there. Let's just go back to then, and perhaps, Drew, you might like to talk about those as we look at the slides. So let's just go back. Stevie Johnson riding a number 1 jersey, jacket.
Yeah, Steve Johnson, obviously he's a massive draw card for us, and Steve's a huge supporter of speedway racing in WA, and he's a good friend of ours and really supportive of Daniel and what we're trying to do here. So it's really great to have him on board. And Steve, I think he's a 4-time state champion. he's raced in the Grand Prix. He's done it all. He's raced overseas for a living, and he's still fast now. I was mentioning to you earlier that he came back a couple of years ago, and he just turned up to a state championship and he won it. So he's still very fast, and we expect him to be definitely one of the front runners.
He didn't just win it, he bolted it in, didn't he, really?
Absolutely, yeah.
I said off air to you, Drew, that I remember, I think it was the Western Big One up at the Woofy track many, many years ago now, but Stevie Johnson was there as one of the stars with lots of internationals. In fact, I think Freddie Ligren might have even been there. I'm not sure now. But Steve in the final was out of gate 4, and he stayed there the whole race. 4 laps. It was just absolutely spectacular. Probably one of my favourite races that I can recall.
Yeah, absolutely. Back in those days when we had the Western Big One and the first iterations of the Rob Wolfman Classic, that's we had some real superstars, and Steve Johnson definitely held his own, and he was definitely right up with those guys, like you mentioned, Freddie Lindgren. We've had Jason Doyle, we've had Chris Holder, I think, is in one of them.
Yes.
So we've definitely had some stars here, and he stands out amongst them. So it's great to have him on board.
Exciting rider and a nice bloke to go with it. Brian Miller, a good solo rider and a flat tracker. I think he's been state champion flat tracker, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. So Brian Miller, he's our resident Kiwi. He's a fan favourite, and yeah, like you mentioned, he's won a state championship in the flat track, and he's just got absolutely outstanding natural ability on a motorbike. Loves his motorbikes and everything about them. So he's really keen to get back and have another ride again. We've been missing him in the sport, and the fans are definitely keen to see him have another run.
And again, he's just such a nice bloke, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. He's a great guy, and it's just awesome to have him back around the sport again, and we can't wait to catch up with him.
Kobe Zetas, a long stayer now, I guess. He came through the junior ranks at Pinjar Park, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Kobe's, again, he's been doing it for just as long as anyone I can remember, and sometimes I forget how young he is because he's still only in his mid-20s, but it feels like he's been there forever. He's a great club person. He's always willing to help me out with everything that I'm doing, even for this event. He's been up the track and helping with the promotions and pulling airbags out of the container and all sorts of things. So, again, in his own right, he's a great speedway rider. He's an A-grade guy, and he's always willing to help out. So it's great to have him on board.
And a good club man as well, and indeed dabbling in wingless sprint cars these days down at the Perth Motorplex, among other things, and slotted in quite well there.
Yeah, it's a new thing for him, and he's still getting used to the car setup and how everything works. Unfortunately, he had a bit of a crash the other night, so he's got a few things to fix. But yeah, it sounds like he's really enjoying it, and it's something different. And yeah, it's great to see that kind of different level of sport, crossover for us.
Drew, tell me a little bit about Connor Bridgeford. I don't know much about him.
Yeah, so Connor came over from the NT, Northern Territory, probably about 2 years ago. So he started racing over there not long ago, so he's fairly new to the sport, but he very quickly picked it up, and he came over to WA to kind of improve his racing and to get a little bit more competition. Straight away, he slotted into our A-grade group, and he's picked it up really well. So he's a fast guy. He's, again, very naturally talented on the bike. So he's a young guy, early stages of his career, but he's enjoying it, and yeah, pretty happy to have him on board.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him ride. Now, this young fellow riding in race jacket 5, Mitch McDermott, you don't probably need to say much about him. He's a rocket ship, isn't he?
Yeah, I think most Speedway fans will know that name by now, and if they don't already know it, they will pretty soon. Mitch McDermott, he's a current state champion, 2-time state champion actually in a row, so he's an absolute superstar. He's a jet on the bike. He's just absolutely gifted with Speedway racing, and he's just finished his Australian title campaign over East. He's done, I think he finished 8th overall. He did the Gilman Oceania as well and finished 6th over there. So he's
right up there,
going up there leaps and bounds. His European career has just been absolutely stellar. So can't wait to follow this young guy's career, and he's going to be one of the best we'll ever have.
Racing in the number 6 jacket, Daniel Winchester again. That's what this event's all about. Rocket ship again.
Yeah, the man of the hour. Like I said, he's done more laps. He's won more races than any other person at Pinjar Park Speedway. He's I call him the undisputed king of Pinjar Park Speedway, and I think most people agree. He's just an absolute superstar of the sport. And particularly on that small track, there's not many who can keep up with him. So yeah, great to kind of recognise him for his career and bring out the boys for this one. When
you say King of Pinjar, would I be right in saying he's probably won 8 or 9 King of Pinjar events?
Yeah, from memory, I'd say at least I think he won 3 in a row, and then maybe he got on the podium, then another 3 in a row, something like that. So he's. I can't remember a year, without crashing or something like that where he hasn't won it or at least stood on the podium.
And Matty Marsden, he came to prominence a couple of years ago. He's tapered off a little since, but he's always fast and reliable, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Matt's had an on and off kind of career over the last 10 years. He's been over to Europe most years to do a bit of riding over there, and usually when he comes back, he's picked up a bit of speed, a bit more confidence. So can't wait to see how he goes again. Like I said, 2020 was his year. He he absolutely smoked everyone. There was nobody that could touch him that year. He won the state championship for solos and flat track. So when he's on, he's on. So, yeah, we can't wait for him to turn up and do some fast laps.
Did he do a double, a solo and a flat track in the 1 year?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that 1 year he held both state championships, which is pretty rare. I don't think anyone else has ever done that. So, yeah, it's a pretty amazing feat to do it in both divisions.
Jared Zetas, brother of Kobe?
Yeah, again, it's great to have the Zetas family on board. They've always been, mainstays of Pinjar Park and Speedway racing in WA. So, again, Jared's a genuine A-class rider. Again, another big supporter of myself and what we're trying to do here. He's been helping out with the promotion. He's just really rapt to be on board and wants to help out where he can. And again, he's a fast guy. He knows his way around Pinjar Park Speedway, particularly the small track, really well. So it'd be great to see him on the bike again. And
fearless, isn't he? He winds that throttle on whenever other people wind off a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes to not to his benefit, but he's definitely got a lot of heart and he goes out there and gives everything he's got.
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing to chat. Luke Colleen, again, a rider that doesn't need introduction. What a beautiful little rider he is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Another one at the beginning of a career that looks to be absolutely prolific. He's one of the best we've got in WA. Without a doubt, he's had his European season last year and the year before, and he was a standout. So he's a very busy guy, racing for his leagues over in UK there, and also for Great Britain as well. So it's great to have him on board. Really nice guy. The whole family is. So yeah, can't wait to have him riding here again.
Yeah, indeed. Des Hayes, great to see him back on the bike.
Yeah, another previous flat track state champion. So again, a lot of these guys are really multi-skilled on motorcycles and different types of competitions. So it's really good to have Des back. He's been kind of on and off the last few years, mostly on his flat track, but I'm really keen to see him have another go at a solo because he was pretty fast. He was one of our top guys, and he's done a lot of laps around this small track. So yeah, keen to have him back on board.
And when you say dual disciplines to ride a flat track and a solo, totally different bikes to ride, aren't they? And you just can't jump off one and on the other and expect to ride the same way. The discipline is totally different in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the bikes themselves, the suspension set up, just the way we're sitting on the bike, the power delivery, it's completely different. So we get a lot of motocross guys who come and have a go and they can't believe the power difference and the delivery and how awkward it is to ride a speedway bike when you're not used to it. And it goes both ways. If you've been riding a speedway bike for a long time and you got to jump on a motocross bike, I'm sure it feels really weird. So it's great for him to come and dominate at both sides of the sport.
Pretty easy to high side yourself off a motocrosser if you hit a bit of a rut, isn't it?
Oh yeah, we've seen it. We've seen it recently as well. So it's it can get into a lot of trouble on these.
Brad Gordon, a young fellow still, son of Glenn Gordon, a good rider in his day, but it's good to see Brad back on the bike as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So Brad basically grew up at the small track at Pinjar Park Speedway. I mentioned to you off air that I remember seeing photos of him when he was 2-3 years old, and I remember him running around before he could even ride a bike. He was going to be a superstar. So he had a really stellar junior career, and everybody was really waiting to see what happened once he turned 16, and he was super keen. So he did, and he slotted straight into the A grade and mixed it with the best we've got. So Brad's a really talented guy. He's been busy working away, so he hasn't had that much track time, and he's kind of had a bit of a break from solos, but we managed to claw him back in, and I think this might be the start of another resurgence in his career. So hopefully we'll see more Brad Gordon in the future.
I think he does a little bit of motocross riding as well, and to keep him fit and for enjoyment.
Yeah, I see him all the time on social media, on bikes and things like that, and I'm kind of jealous he has so much time to do that. But he just loves his motorbikes and loves the sport, and really lovely guy. And like he said, his dad Glenn has been a huge supporter of our club and our sport, and in his own right, he's a great rider. So glad to have them all on board.
Great family, aren't they? Now, moving on to Ethan Ballantyne, number 12 race jacket. I haven't seen Ethan for some time, but boy, he and Cale were good riders, weren't they?
Yeah, so the whole Ballantyne family, so the three brothers, Cale, Jesse and Ethan, all rode solos together. They started off here at the small track at Pinjar Park, and I don't know how many years it's been, probably 10 years since Ethan's been on a bike. So again, it's a bit of an unknown, but back in the day he was one of the best guys we had, one of the top riders. So again, just he's one of the boys. He's come back to support Daniel and myself in what we're trying to do here, like a lot of the guys have. So it's great to have him back, and looking forward to seeing him turn some laps again.
Mm-hmm. Now, in the number 13 jacket, Trevor Dossett, he's risen to prominence in the last year or two, hasn't he?
Yeah, so Trev's, he started from juniors and he's worked his way through the ranks, and I think he started his senior career about 2 years ago. Again, he was kind of flew under the radar for me and for a lot of people. He was just kind of learning his craft and learning where he sat in the rankings, but he's just pushed himself right up there into contention. He's a genuine A-grade guy now. He's sitting number 3 since the state championship a couple of months ago. So he's in his own right. He gets out there, he gets amongst it. He was beating the likes of Matt Marsden and some of the other top guys last time out. So yeah, it's good to have him on board, and he certainly deserves his spot.
Cam Heaps, number 14 race jacket, again, one of those guys that's been prominent, I think 5-time state champion and Australian international rider these days.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Cam. He's one of the best exports we've ever had in WA, and he's just a real testament to what you can do in this sport if you put your mind to it. He's gone and had a really stellar career in Europe, and he lives over there and comes back for the summer. So it's really awesome to have him back on board, and he's just a great guy and just loves helping out. So and he's the rivalry that him and Dan have had over the last 20 years has been probably one of the best we've ever had. Those guys just bang bars, and you can't separate them on the track. They're just one of the best we've got. So it's great to have him back again.
I recall Cam and Dan going at it. None of them give an inch, and Cam's one of those riders that doesn't mind stuffing it up the inside or riding around the outside on the boards. He just has a good crack at it, doesn't he?
Yeah, the last 2 Rob Wolferton events that we've had in Perth, these 2 have been pegged in the first heat each, and both races were probably race of the night for me, because those 2 were just side by side the whole time. Sometimes you just cannot separate them. They're 2 of the best we've ever seen.
And I'm sure they'll be prominent on Saturday night for you. Jack McDermott, older brother of Mitch, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Again, Jack's another one where the last couple of years he's just improved, and he's just getting faster and faster on the bike, and you can see the confidence is just oozing out of him now. He's one of our top contenders. He's sitting number 2 in WA at the moment, just behind his brother. Unfortunately, that happens. Sometimes you've got a brother who's just better than you, and happened twice with me, unfortunately. But with Jack, he's really he's not a professional rider in one sense, but you can tell that he's definitely got the skill set to be up and amongst the A-grade guys. And we just love seeing him race.
And rounding out the 16, Alex Prawl, again, like some of Trevor Dossett and so on, he's come to prominence in the last year or two, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. So Alex was a late entry. So unfortunately, Cal Ballantyne has had to withdraw due to injury. But Alex was a late call-up. So it's really great to have him on board. He the last kind of 12 months, again, he's just improved his racing. He's in the group for our top A-grade guys. He's got really nice style on the bike. So like you mentioned, he would have been in my top picks already, but I thought he was injured since the last race. So it's it's really good that we can slot him in now, and he definitely deserves it.
Well, he certainly deserves it, and I'm sorry for Cale, but I'm pleased to see Alex having a crack at this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we haven't mentioned yet the reserve we've got for the night is going to be Nigel Flatman.
Yes, good.
He's still going, and he's still fast. So he was wrapped to be involved in the event and just wanted to help in any way he can. So Nigel, he might yet get a berth on the night. So we'll see if something happens. But again, he was out there helping me on the weekend and doing some really hard work pulling the airbags out. So appreciate it, Nigel, and great to have you on.
Nice bloke. Now, exciting Dash for Cash event, $1,000 to win. Never mind, 1 lap dash against the clock, winner take all. That'll be a beauty.
Yeah, absolutely. This event was one that I really wanted to include. The whole Daniel Winchester Testimonial is supposed to be a really fun event for the fans and a bit of a show that we can put on. And the Dash for Cash is something that we haven't seen in a few years. I know previously you've done similar in the events that you've done. And it's just a fan favourite. So we get to see these guys go hell for leather for 2 laps and just see who can post the fastest time. And in particular, this one is going to be interesting because most of them haven't ridden for a long time, and they haven't ridden on the current track layout. So it's going to be really cool to see. And thanks for Paul Winchester for putting up the $1,000, because it's definitely an incentive for these guys to win it. So they're all going to be up there trying their hardest.
All right. Now, Drew, you just mentioned the track. This is the smaller 142 metre long Woofy track, the one in Petterick Road, not the big 330 metre track. It'll be a beauty. Now, there's been major changes since I've last seen it, because majority of the time outlaw karts race on it. So just tell us a little bit about the current track.
Yeah, for sure. So the Outlaw Kart Club have been using our track, the small track at Pinjar Park, and they've been upkeeping it and doing some major upgrades to it, and really making it a nice raceway again. For a little while there, it kind of got left by the wayside, and we let the license lapse. But these guys have done a stellar job of kind of rejuvenating it. But yeah, they have made some serious changes to the track. So it's still 142 metres on the curb, but they've actually extended the outside of the track 2 metres out. So it's 2 metres wider, but it's also got heavy banking on it. So it's a lot higher. The boards on the fence are at a serious angle, so you can see they're sitting like that on the boards. So we will have airbags up, but it's still going to be a bit wider and a lot faster, so it should be really interesting.
Now, off air you told me that the banking is not progressive from the curb to the fence. It goes flat for a short time and then the banking starts, so that'll make it really interesting for solo racing. Yeah,
so the inside line is still relatively similar to how it was. It's probably maybe about 8 metres in that it really starts to extend up, and you can't really tell by the naked eye, but once you get on there, once you stand on the track, it's hard to stand up. So we're not sure how it's going to go for solo racing. I think it's going to be super fast. The bravest of guys are going to ride the outside line, but it's certainly different, and it's going to be pretty exciting.
Now, talking about exciting and the brave guys, you've got some sidecar events on as well. Not cheap stations, but they'll be wanting to win this event, there's no question. But it'll be interesting to see how they tackle the banking. Yeah,
for sure. So obviously this is a major solo event, but the sidecars are a huge fan favourite. So we wanted to obviously put a show on and have those guys doing a bit of racing as well. And like you mentioned, it's not for sheep stations, but try telling them that. They're definitely going to be out there trying to get the win. So yeah, we've got a handful of sidecars. They're going to go 3 wide, which is plenty wide enough for this kind of small track. So look forward to seeing them bang bars and hopefully not too much carnage, but I'm sure there'll be lots of excitement.
Well, there we are, 2 pictures on the one frame. Daniel Winchester as a 13-year-old riding in the number 6 jacket, even back then, and the current style that he's adopted successfully over the 20 years of top solo racing.
Yeah, exactly. So he definitely stands out in his green gear, and he's kept that same gear throughout his whole senior career. I don't know if you can tell, but just there he's got his Full Lock Racing jacket. So that's from Brad Muller from Full Lock Racing. He's been a huge supporter of him. So yeah, it's just it's pretty amazing to see him still going after all these years, and to see the level that he's achieved since those young days. So yeah, it's really great just to celebrate that and put a good show on for the fans.
You mentioned Full Lock Racing there, Brad Muller. He's given Dan a lot of support over the years. A great guy himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Brad's a huge supporter of solo racing and speedway racing throughout WA. He's done everything from the promotion side. He's been on the board, the committee, and he just loves racing. Just loves being supporter of our bikes, and in particular Daniel and some of the guys on the Full Lock team. He goes a way out of his way just to help people out and to provide bikes and gear and equipment and consumables. So it's just awesome to have him back involved in the speedway, and can't wait to see him on the weekend.
I just had the Pinjar Park Motorcycle Speedway slide on there. They're the host, and you're promoting the event on their behalf. What a good combination. I mean, you've had a lot of success being a major part running the Woofy events in recent years, and now to put this one on, the testimonial for Dan Winchester, a great situation. Yeah,
for sure. So this event is the first one that I'm putting on as Drew Winchester Promotions, but it is also promoted jointly by SMC WA, which is the club that runs Pinjar Park Speedway. So it is a joint promotion, and we've had heaps of help from Tarina and Kaz and the other board members, as well as MWA. So again, it's not an easy job putting on shows like this, and you've seen yourself when we've done the Wolfenden meetings together. It's a lot of work that goes into it, and I'm going to need a holiday after this one, but I just enjoy doing it. I love being part of the sport, whether it's riding myself or refereeing or being part of the club or running the Facebook page. It's all part of it. I just love doing it, and hopefully this one turns out to be a great event that people will remember for a long time.
I'm sure it will be. So the Daniel Winchester Testimonial, Pinjar Park Motorcycle Speedway, adults $25, very, very cheap for a good night's entertainment. Concession just $20 and children $5. Drew, gates open at 4:30 and racing gets underway at 7. Yeah,
that's right. So the first official Heat 1 will be at 7 o'clock, but from about 6 o'clock we'll have the pre-race. So we'll have the rider introductions. We'll do the national anthem. And that's when we're going to kick off with the one-lap dash as well. So that dash for cash will be probably at about 6:30, 6:45. We'll get that underway. So definitely get there early as you can. There's going to be limited spots to set up your camp chair. But yeah, arrive on Pendrick Road, which is the backside from what many people would be used to. It's just next to the motocross club. But yeah, come on down early and enjoy the show. And of course, I've looked at the long-range forecast, and it looks to be perfect weather for solo racing on Saturday. Oh, so you can never trust the weather, can you? I've been looking at it for the last 2 weeks, with a bit of tension, and it did say about a week ago that it was going to be about 36 degrees, and then it said it was going to be raining, and now it looks to be perfect weather. So hopefully it stays that way. But yeah, I think it's just going to be a great night either way.
And Drew, to close off on, you can't just do these things, on your own money and doing all those things without a bit of support from sponsors. So you've got a few sponsors there. Maybe you'd just like to talk through them.
Yeah, so we've got a bunch of sponsors on board. I'll just talk about a couple of the top ones. So Rick Gill Motorcycles is the major sponsor of the event. Those of you who don't know, that's where Daniel actually works. So he's the head mechanic there. He's a motorbike mechanic by trade. He's been there since he was about 17 years of age, so it's nearly 20 years that he's been there working, and they're huge supporters of his racing and of this event. So thank you to Rick and Rowan and the team there. Really great to have them on board and supporting this one. You'll see on there it says the Winchester family, so that's Paul Winchester has donated $1,000 for that dash for cash. So again, thank you for him for kind of helping me and supporting this event. And then, another one just down from that, I quickly mentioned Benco. You can see the hat, the one I'm wearing. I love the guys at Benco. So Ben Williams and Todd, they're huge supporters of speedway racing, solo racing, and the riders as well. They're major sponsors of Mitch McDermott, Justin Sedgman, and they've been major supporters of events that we've done in the past. So great to have them on board again. And similar for Shieldsy Engineering, Tony Shield, an ex-rider. He stepped up and helped out for this one and helped out with other things as well. So great to have those guys on board.
And you talked about Benco. I mean, they are good speedway family, but not only that, they're nice people as well. Todd and Ben and Maria, the mum, and all the people behind the Benco group. They're just good people.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, they've supported us for many years now. They love coming to the events. Even when they're major sponsors of the events, they come along and they pay their own way, and they just love being a part of it and bringing all their friends and family. I think they had about 50 people in their VIP tent last time, which is great. They just enjoy the show. They can't get enough of it. Ben just recently, like I said, he did the whole Australian title tour. So travelled around Australia watching speedway racing, and he just loves it. So it's great to have someone like that in our sport.
Well, talking about Benco, they also support Talking About Speedway, and although they are lovers of two-wheel speedway, they do extend that courtesy to me. So I'm really grateful for that. So again, Daniel Winchester Testimonial, Pinjar Park Motorcycle Speedway, Pedrick Road in Neerabup. Adults $25, concessions $20, children $5. Gates open at 4:30. And as you heard Drew just say, get yourself there early so that you can take advantage of watching the one-lap dash for cash for $1,000 prize money. So a great event. Don't miss this one. Whatever you do, it'll be the solo meeting of the year without doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a huge solo event and a huge show we're looking to put on. Like I mentioned, we've got solos, we've got sidecars, we've got outlaw carts as well. So those guys, like I said, it's their track that's their home track, and they've designed it to work best for them. So it's going to be really cool to see how fast they can get around there. We've also got a 110cc pit bike race, which a lot of the guys are really excited about. So that's going to be something different as well. And again, we're just trying to put on a show that's a little bit different, a little bit more premium than what you would have seen, over the last 12 months. So it's great to be able to have the guys here that are really fast and really be able to put on a good show for you guys.
Well, as Con Migro says, it's not just motor racing or solo racing in this case. It's about the motortainment. So this event sounds like you've got it all wrapped up, Drew.
Yeah, like I said, it's been a lot of hard work over the last 6 months, just putting it together. But I'm not alone. There's been a lot of people helping me out, and I appreciate everyone who's supported it and sent me well wishes, and yourself for having me on here, and just everyone it's been a big part of it. Like I said, Tarina and the club, Marshall McDermott has been a huge supporter of the event, and he's been a huge help in putting it all together. So can't thank him enough. Just hoping everyone turns up and has a really great night and enjoys themselves.
Well, Drew, thanks for coming in and telling us a bit more about the event. It sounds fantastic. I can't wait for it, and you shouldn't miss it either. So get yourself up there, 6:30, no later, 4:30 the gates open, Pinjar Park Motorcycle Speedway this Saturday night, 17th. So there you are, Drew Winchester here in the studio with me, Graeme Sinden, and as I said, get yourself up to Pinjar Park Motorcycle Speedway this weekend. Bye for now.